My name is Sienna, and this is Sienna Reacts. So today we are back with the Ultimatum Queer Love episode 9. This is technically the last episode of the season, and then after this we have the reunion. Before we get started, please make sure to like, comment, and please subscribe if you would like. But let's go ahead, let's get started. Okay, so episode 9 begins, picks up right where it left off in episode 8 with Mal and Yoly at their proposal place. And Mal is saying how it's Yoly, it's always been Yoly. Mal has just learned from this experience that, she didn't have to have XYZ in order prior to getting married, and how the way that Mal grew up, it was that, if you get married, then you're having kids, then you're getting a house, and then all of these things have to happen in quick succession. And they've learned through this experience that that isn't necessarily true. You don't have to do that. There are other ways to build or format a marriage and a relationship. And then Mal does propose to Yoly. Yoli, as soon as Mal does propose, you can see her head nodding, like she's going to say yes. She is saying yes. But after that, they have to have this really difficult conversation where Yoli is very straightforward and says that she does still have feelings. She does still see herself as still being in love with Xander in this situation. And I really don't know how to feel about that. My personal opinion of this is that Yoli should have said no. Mal, I don't think, should have proposed, because Mal is saying that that they only want to move forward in a situation if that person is their hell yes, and she is that. Okay, Mal is they them, and I keep switching back and forth. I'm so sorry. But Mal is saying that she wants to have a hell yes, and she wants to be the hell yes for someone else. So in this situation, I don't think that it's fair for either of them to propose and to say yes, because they are not sure. They are not like bro, you proposed to her, she agreed, and then right after she says she's in love with someone else. It's ridiculous. It's such a ridiculous situation, in my opinion. I don't think that it should not have happened, but most especially Yoli should not have said yes. But while they're talking, after Yoli does say that she's still in love with Xander, Mal says that, she's not trying to force Yoli to pick her or to choose her. Mal seems almost like a therapist, and I think in her way of speech and the way that she thinks about things, it's almost as if she's giving away Yoli to the other person. I don't know. I legitimately do not know how to feel about Mal. It's almost like it's both very freeing in that she's giving the opportunity to Yoli to make the decision that Yoli thinks is best for her, right? There's that, but also by being so, you can make your own decision. You're not putting in any influence. I don't know. Their situation, their entire dynamic, I legitimately, it's I don't want to say baffling, but it's legitimately baffling. And yeah, they shouldn't have been together. No. Even if Yoli doesn't choose Xander, this should not have happened. Anyway, then we move on to Tiff and Mildred. They're getting ready. Mildred's trying to choose between 2 outfits or 3 outfits. Tiff is in the mirror putting on makeup, trying to be saying that this is the biggest decision of their life, and they're really trying to make the correct decision for them. And this couple I find to be very fair in that they're mentioning, like, I really do have passion for this person, I really do love this person. However, we do fight, we do break up, we do have all of these issues, but I still want to continue forward because I legitimately love this person. Then this is the couple where they had like every couple had speeches, and every couple kind of like profess their feelings in like one way or the other. But this one was so long, like it's legitimately like a 10-minute scene of them having like a monologue, like each having like their own monologue, and I was like, oh my god, this is a lot. um but something I did think was like really funny is like while Tiff was talking, and just kind of like getting their feelings out there, they finished, but they kind of finished without an ending, without a clear ending. So Tiff is just like standing there waiting for a response, and like Mildred's like, "Are you done talking?" I thought that was like super funny. Oh gosh. But then you move on to Mildred talking and saying their piece, and they again, like I find in like the other couples, they tended to focus pretty heavily on the positive, but this one is really acknowledging the issues between their like in like within their relationship. However, I noticed that they did not promise not to do those things. Unless I missed it. I could have missed it. They didn't promise like not to do those things. They didn't promise to change for each other. They were legitimately just acknowledging that this was how their relationship is. No, like, let's go to therapy, like I'll work harder on communication, like, excuse me? But it's a lot. It's a lot. Also, a really quick sidebar. I don't understand, why is Mildred wearing a faja on the outside? I don't get it. I don't get it. I think the champagne like type colored dress I think would have been a far better choice. But you know what? It's not me. It's not my proposal. Whatever. Um, and then Tiff is just talking about like she's very grateful for the experience, even though it's like a roller coaster and so many things have happened. But they love each other, and or that Tiff loves Mildred and Mildred loves Tiff, and Tiff ends up proposing, and they agreed to get married. This should not have happened. This should not, like, it's such a like a toxic relationship. Like, I do not like, I don't understand the situation. Like, this should not have happened. Just like Mal and Yoli, this proposal should not have happened. Tiff has enough sense to say no, and I don't know why Tiff proposed. It doesn't make any sense. They're too toxic for each other. They're like they've grown, but like legitimately, like throughout all of this you can still see like the bickering, like going back and forth, and not necessarily saying you can't have like banter within a relationship, but it escalates too quickly. Like, they do too much. I don't like, this should not have happened. They should not have gotten married or proposed. Like, it's ridiculous. Also, I think where they are is like La Jolla on like a perch. I don't know, but it looks kind of like La Jolla, or it's definitely right off the 5, no matter where they are. But yeah, that's ridiculous. Anyway, move on to Sam and Aussie, and they're getting ready. Aussie's ironing their clothes again. But I do want to point out, I don't know if anyone else caught this, but the little side interview that Sam has is actually from their like fight, or like not really fight, like confrontation, where they were having dinner and Aussie ended up like locking themselves in like the bathroom and crying. Sam's sidebar interview is from that day, and I don't understand why everyone else's interviews are from the day of, but Sam's is from like a week or two before. I don't like that. it reminds me of like the whole thing with like Yoli's lipstick and it being red and then not having anything on and then being red again. Like the editing gods are like at it again. Um, but anyway, you have Sam walking up, and again, I really like their dynamic. They seem so happy. They seem so giddy. Like they seem to like legitimately enjoy each other's companies, in company, company, without having it being like either like sexually charged or whatever Tiff and Mildred have going on. But they seem so like genuinely like bubbly and happy of being around each other. And Sam mentions that when she was coming in, she saw butterflies and how they represented Sam's grandmother and Ozzy's grandmother, and then Sam also saw a lizard that kind of resembled her uncle. And again, like they're good. I know that Ozzy has their issues, and I do think that they need to go to therapy to work through those issues and like childhood trauma and just like family dynamics. Um, but also they just outside of that they just seem to have like a very good healthy dynamic, and I like it. Ozzy then goes into their speech, sorry, and about how that there's species of penguins who penguins mate for life, which is a significant part of this. But once they choose their mate, they go along the shore and try and find the correct, or not the correct, like a good stone to give their partner. And Ozzy's like, and I found the perfect stone for you, and it's heart shaped. It almost sounded like like Ozzy got the stone from the temple, and Sam is just like holding it and is like, dang, I love it. I like like trying to hold yourself back from crying because it's just like, I choose you. Thank you. Pain. But anyway, um, but out after Ozzy gives Sam the stone that she got at the temple, and they like Ozzy like makes a little joke and talks about like, I also found another stone that's that I think is perfect for you, and that's when Ozzy gets on one knee and proposes, and Sam says yes. Um, so this, I do have to be quite honest, I was a little bit shocked because I don't feel as if Ozzy met all of the requirements, or not necessarily the requirements, but the things that Sam wanted to change. Ozzy was ready, is now ready to get married, but they still haven't really worked on communication. They still, shut themselves off. They still do XYZ, and that's, you know, it's as if Sam got the person but didn't get the character that they wanted. And I think that's something. But again, I do think that they have, outside of whenever there is conversation, they do seem to have a very healthy relationship. So maybe we're not seeing what Sam sees on a daily basis, We're only kind of seeing the fairly negative parts of Aussie. Yeah. But anyway, I think they're cute. I think that if they get married, it would actually be like if they get married and Ozzy goes to therapy, let me preface that. If they get married and Ozzy goes to therapy, I think that they can have like a very wonderful, lasting relationship with each other. Then we move on to Xander and Vanessa. You can already kind of see that. Oh, sorry. If you haven't noticed, when I'm like looking off to the side, I have the video going so I can like keep track of what I'm talking about, because my mind will not let me keep track. But anyway, so they're getting ready. They're having their little interviews. Something that I just noticed just now is the fact that Vanessa actually had two gowns out. One of them was white or like a cream color, and then there's the yellow that she ended up wearing. And I think had, because you could already, honestly, you could already kind of tell from their little interviews that they were doing that there was too much negative talk for them to actually choose each other, or that's just like my opinion. So I think they already knew what was coming, both of them. Um, and I think had Vanessa been more like, yes, like Xander is going to propose and I'm going to say yes, I think she probably would have worn the white instead of wearing like the yellow, like mustard gold color. That's interesting. I did not see that the first the first time I watched it, but that's something quite interesting. Um, but yeah, anyway, we move on to and um, Xander and Vanessa. They're finally getting to the space, and I have to say this space is beautiful, 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 beautiful. It's honestly kind of weird because I feel like they get like the best spots, the best color grading, just like it. I don't know. It's so green and lively. I don't know. Anyway, moving on. But they are sitting there and they're starting to have a conversation. They're doing a little bit of small talk. It's kind of awkward. And then they kind of go into it. Xander gives their speech. Um, and Xander kind of talks about, like, I had so many dreams and I had, you know, I've dreamed of proposing to you, but when, oh, sorry, I had dreamed of proposing to you, but when I originally like dreamed of it, I felt as if we would be a lot more like self-assured and sure of our relationship and feelings for each other, and that's unfortunately not where we are now. Um, and so like we already know where this is going, but Xander doesn't propose, and then but Xander's crying. Like you can, it's a very difficult situation. Um, but Vanessa begins her speech. Something that's again very interesting was that when Vanessa was walking up to their spot, she had like notes in her hands. So I guess she already, again with the notes and they're reading them. She already knew what was going to happen. She knew it was coming. But they just talk about how oh like how Vanessa could feel Xander slipping through her fingertips and slowly removing herself from the situation or removing herself from the relationship, and it's just really hard. And something I do want to say is that in the this conversation honestly feels like very heartfelt. um and you can really see the difficulty that each of them are having in their own way for making such a decision. Um, and it's very emotional. Vanessa doesn't cry. Xander is bawling tears. um, but they're talking about maybe maybe we'll meet again. Maybe we'll meet again in the next life, and we'll see what happens. Sorry, my cat is my cat is going crazy. Anyway, like maybe we'll find each other in the future. Maybe we'll meet up again at a taco stand or something, right? Um, I don't know. It's kind of heartbreaking, and it reaches a level of a feeling that I felt like was not there for Mal and Yoli, and that's what I was really saying. Like for Mal, it feels like almost as if like she's like a therapist, and for Yoli, I feel like she's very honest but very circular in her words. But it is what it is. Um, but Vanessa and Xander, they hug again, they kiss again, and they're both saying like I knew it was coming, like I knew it was time, but this had to be done. Then we move on to Xander and Yoly. And something that I need to point out is that Yoly agreed to marry Mal that morning, and then they had to meet up with Yoly and Mal, or with Yoly and Xander, and then Yoly took off her ring when they had the meeting. And I just thought, it's a lot. 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 I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this situation. And anyway, Yoli's coming in, and she's talking about how she used to be so sure of herself and the things that she wanted, and now that she has what she wanted, now she's conflicted because Mal proposed to her. Mal wants to have marriage with her, and now she's in love with someone else, right? Anyway, they meet up, they hug, and they're just having. You can see how much chemistry they have, and how happy Xander is because Yoly isn't wearing her ring, and they're originally just. Oh, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about the situation. But they are just like, it's. But anyway, Yoly, after they finish hugging each other, Yoly asked, "How does Xander feel about like the situation?" And Xander talks about how, like they want the same things. They believe that they like Xander and Yoly are good together and they can really make things work. And Yoli's sitting there listening to Xander profess their feelings and their hopes and dreams for the future, and then being under the impression that Yoly did not say yes to Mal, and Yoli's just sitting there, listening to it. And I feel like that makes it worse. Like, I feel like that almost makes it worse. That you can kind of like see the hopes and the dreams and like the light in Xander's eyes, and then Yoly just kind of like drops the bomb after Xander has like said all of this, and something that Yoly says is that Mal has her head, and like Mal makes sense in her head, and Xander has her heart. Like Xander makes sense in her heart. Like they have that compatibility, and she should have just said no to everyone. Oh my God, I'm sorry. I don't even know how to feel. Like this is not a good situation, and it's not going well. And Xander basically says that, if you're not going to be my hell yes and I'm not going to be yours, then I think everything's okay. And they're just like sitting there like exchanging their I love yous, and it's hard to watch. And if Mal does stay with Yoly, I cannot imagine how Mal would feel to watch this episode back. It's craziness. But it's not good. And then they walk off from their original spot, and then they're just like, they go to somewhere that's a little bit more secluded where they think that the cameras aren't, and you can just see them like holding each other, and Yoly is crying, and Yoly says, if love was enough, then I would 100% be by your side. Yoly should not be with Mal. Mal should not have proposed. Yoly should not have said yes. Yoly should not have said yes. This is, I can't take it. This episode, Yoly's making me mad. Yoly's legitimately making me mad. I don't know. It's a very difficult situation. I know that. I acknowledge that. Um, and while that is true, I feel like Yoli's operating from a place of like the sunken cost fallacy, in that she spent so much more time with Mal, and things like logistics seem to make a little bit more sense with Mal, but she doesn't love Mal in the same way that she loves Yoli, and it's just she says that, she admits that, and I'm just like, this is not, it's not good. It's not good. But anyway, they have their side interviews. They hug one last time, and then like they walk away from each other. It's not great. Then we move on to Lexi and Ray. They are getting ready. Something I do want to mention is that Lexi does have a TikTok, and she's almost unrecognizable in comparison to this. And something that she mentions is how like she's watching it back, she barely recognizes herself, in that, you know, she had this like super like blonde hair, and she's wearing super tight dresses, and how she's actually starting to become like more masked. She has like brown hair now. She only wears, what was it? She said like men's sets. So she's wearing like more masculine like clothing, and I thought that was just like a very interesting like dichotomy between what it was when she was 24 and now at 26. Interesting. But anyway, they are doing their side interviews. I'm not even going to pay attention to that because it was just kind of fluff. Anyway, they meet up. They hug. You can legitimately tell how nervous they are. Like, Lexi's lip is like quivering. Like Ray's like freaking out and being like, I just need 30 more seconds. Like, I need 30 more seconds. Please give me 30 more seconds so I can like prepare for this. And then Ray gives her speech about how the things and the qualities that Ray loves about Lexi, and how tenacious and adventurous and courageous that Lexi is, and just how much life, and just how vivacious Lexi is in their relationship, and how much that Ray loves Lexi. And that, you know, she's not ready to lose Lexi. Like, she can't do it. And so Ray ends up proposing to Lexi using one of the rings from Lexi's dad. Lexi does say yes. They hug, and then Lexi proposes to Ray with another ring from Lexi's dad. And then they just like, I don't know, they're so cute together. Like, it almost feels as if the whole drama with Vanessa was just simply for TV. It's as if none of that existed and none of that ever happened, despite the past like 4 episodes being total and complete chaos because of that, right? Anyway, they're adorable. They both say yes. And then the episode ends just kind of like with each of the couples going on about like how they felt in the experiment, how they felt on the TV show, and then their hopes for the future. The first ones that we start off with are Sam and Aussie. So Aussie now has to tell their parents that they're gay, and not only do they have to tell their parents that they're gay, but now they must tell their parents, not only am I gay, but I'm engaged and I'm getting married. In that situation, they just seem, Sam and Aussie seem just to have like a really good relationship despite some of the issues, right? Then we move on to Yoli and Mal, and the smiles that they have are fake, and that's just a really bad relationship all around. It should not have happened. Boo. Then we move on to Xander, who is saying that they feel better in their own skin, and they're confident in their decision, but I guess they wish that it would have turned out differently, but it is what it is. Then you have Vanessa, who at this point seems to be on the verge of tears compared to when they were actually having the conversation with Xander. But Vanessa just kind of talking about how they, they've grown and now they are open to love. They're open to marriage. They're seeing growth in, I guess, the kind of like rigid, almost flightiness that they had previously. Then we move on to Ray and Lexi, and it turns out that Ray has a job lined up in Philadelphia, so they're going to be moving halfway across the country to live in Pennsylvania, and leave Costa Mesa behind, right? But they just seem like really happy, really giddy. And then it ends with Tiff and Mildred, and this is a relationship that I do not agree with. I actually actively oppose it. And I don't think that they should be together, but it is what it is. Here we are. But you just see them kind of like bickering back and forth, whatever. They shouldn't have been together, but whatever, it is. It is what it is. And that is the end of episode 9. I don't know, man. What was that? There's five couples. 4 out of the 5 couples got married. Predictions. I'll do predictions. So predictions for the reunion are, I do not think Mal and Yoly stay together. I think it's possible that Yoly and Xander meet up again. However, one thing logistically is that Yoly, if I'm not mistaken, Yoly and Mal lived in Seattle and Xander lived in Hawaii. So logistically, if they were to get back together again, I don't know where they're moving or where one person is moving, right? Then we have Sam and Aussie. I think that they stay together long term. Hopefully, Aussie takes it upon themselves to go to therapy, but I think they would work out just fine. Tiff and Mildred, I do not think are going to stay together at all. I hope not, actually. And then Lexi and Ray, I think that they do stay together. Maybe not necessarily getting married, because again, they're both under 30. And Lexi's in her early 20s at this point. But I do think that they stay together. So what is that? Sam and Aussie, good. Lexi and Ray, good. The rest of them shouldn't be. But anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments and what your prediction for the reunion is. And not just the reunion, because the reunion was filmed 6 months ago in like January. So what are your thoughts on who still is together at this point now? But yeah, let me know in the comments. Please like the video and please subscribe if you are and I'll see you next time, okay? So, bye-bye.